Hello and welcome to Community Media's Open House. My name is Elida Murrary and I'm the Executive Director of the Adams County Children's Advocacy Center. Today, I'm your guest host for the Open House. The Adams County Children's Advocacy Center is an independent nonprofit organization that serves all of Adams County. We work towards a community where children are safe, families are strong, and our child victims can become children again. Our programs include teaching child abuse prevention to elementary students across Adams County, and also to supporting children and families who have suffered the trauma of child abuse by providing advocacy assistance, forensic interviews, medical exams, trauma therapy, and support groups. But as an organization who every day supports children who have experienced trauma, it's important to us to support and promote organizations in Adams County whose activities help kids to build resilience to stress and to maintain their well-being and their mental health. So today we're proud to highlight the great work of Adams County 4-H and to welcome Alexis Lansford, who is Penn State's Extension Educator for 4-H, Casey Zirk, and Makayla Keller, who are 4-H team leaders. So hi and welcome to Open House. So Alexis, can you get us started? Just tell us a little bit about what 4-H is all about.
Yeah, so 4-H is America's largest youth organization. We focus on personal growth, leadership, and preparation for lifelong learning through hands-on learning opportunities. That's all I have for that.
So what's kind of age group? Like how young can kids be? How old can you be? How does that all work?
So we have a 4-H Cloverbud program, which is for youth ages 5 to 7 years old as of January 1st of the current year. And then we have our 4-H program for youth ages 8 to 18 years old. If adults over the ages of 18 would like to help and support the 4-H program, we also offer screen volunteer opportunities as well.
And so how does the whole thing work? Like I did take a look on the website and it looked like there were lots of clubs all across the county. Are there clubs for different types of activities? Are there different kinds of groups that get together? How does that all go together?
Absolutely. So there are livestock and animal clubs, there are community clubs, and there are special interest clubs. So just to name a few of the livestock clubs, we have a dairy and dairy beef club, a beef club, a sheep club, goat club, swine club, and rabbit club. For all of the clubs, and especially the animal clubs, you do not have to have an animal to be a part of the clubs. And then we also have our community clubs, which focus on a variety of different project opportunities. And then we have special interest clubs like shooting sports and craft club.
So really, when you get down to it, it sounds like there's something for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Every interest across the board.
Yes.
And then I have to be honest, full disclosure, I was a 4-H'er way back in the day. So we had, both animal projects and then other kinds of projects like I like to sew or I like to do art or all those kinds of things. So those things happening here in Adams as well?
Yes. So we like to offer, in the community clubs, you can kind of do a little bit of everything besides animals. So some of the community clubs are focusing on a wildlife project, making bird nests, homemade bird feeders, learning about wildlife, taking wildlife field trips. We have a cake decorating opportunity where youth ages 8 to 18 get to enhance or learn cake decorating skills. And all of these projects that they do throughout the year end up getting taken to South Mountain Fair for 4-H and open judging, where they can show off their skills or their crafts or their projects that they've done through the year.
Yeah, I remember the fair. I grew up in Arizona, so it's a little bit different maybe than here, but we got to go to the 4-H based fair, like the county fair, but then we also got to go to the state fair, so yeah, that happens, right?
Yeah, so the way that works with us is we, all of our livestock and projects go to South Mountain Fair. And we have our 4-H fair in correlation with South Mountain Fair. So we have our 4-H and FFA livestock market show, livestock shows, and then we have the 4-H building where all the non-animal projects are set up.
So how did you get involved with 4-H? How does that all work?
So I grew up in FFA in Fairfield and did not know anything about 4-H. I was going to college to be an ag teacher. Didn't know anything else besides I wanted to be an ag teacher. So I went to college, met some new friends, got into some different activities at college, and learned about extension. And I decided that teaching wasn't really my thing, but I love teaching about livestock and agriculture and working with kids. and giving back to the community in one way or another. So I decided to look at different avenues, and Extension was an avenue. So I took a 4-H internship in York County under the 3 4-H educators there. And within a couple weeks, I figured out that that's where I belong. It just kind of clicked. And then after that, I went back to college and switched to the 4-H extension route rather than teaching, and then finished college under extension.
Interesting. So FFA to 4-H to teaching
Yes.
to back to 4-H kind of.
Yes.
How about that? What would you say? Let's say you're a parent maybe watching this. What would you say to parents who might want to like encourage their kids to get involved?
Yeah, so I mean, 4-H is for everyone. It's not really agricultural based anymore, even though that we do have our livestock projects and we can do like crop science and other projects like that. It's more about helping our youth grow into young adults and how we can best help them grow into those young adults. So we have 4-H projects ranging from financial literacy to babysitting, to your craft and sewing and cooking and foods and all of those things. So our main focus, especially in Adams County, is how we can best support our youth to growing into young adults.
Wonderful. Maybe I can ask Casey and Makayla a couple of questions. So how did either one of you first get involved in 4-H? How did that get started for you?
I started when I was 8 because my grandparents have a dairy farm, so I naturally went right into dairy beef. So I had a dairy beef steer and some dairy heifers that I did, and I kind of just evolved from there.
So when you say you have a dairy beef steer, could you talk about what that really means in terms of a project? It might be interesting for people to know more about that.
So for my dairy beef calf, I have a finished steer and a feeder calf. So my finished steer was born January of last year. So I had him, I bottle fed him, I fed him every day, made sure he had vaccines, cared for him every day up until fair. And so he's finished. That means he's ready to go to slaughter right after the fair. So when he's sold, that is what his end value is. And then my feeder calf was born, I believe, around November 15th of last year. So he's still a little guy. So I've done the same thing with him and raising him the same way I did with my finished steer, except when I sell him, he'll be going to a feed lot where somebody else will finish him to be prepared for
either
slaughter.
way, you're raising a baby.
Yes.
Basically. And how about you, Makayla?
So I started a year after Casey. I was 9. I was playing softball with one of my friends that was in 4-H, and she would not stop talking about her steer. All I heard, I believe its name was Snowball, it's all I heard about. So I was like, told my parents about it, and I got involved in the same club that Casey was in, so that's also where I met Casey. And I had to go through the same things with my steer that Casey did, same kind of project. But yeah, I'm glad she wouldn't stop talking about it because it opened all these doors for me.
And then so have you continued to do that? And then what are the other things as you've gotten older, what other things have you been involved with for 4-H?
I quickly jumped to beef because my one neighbor had a beef calf they really wanted me to show and start with. So then I was showing beef. I think I was 11 when I started that, and I still do it to this day. I also bought some beef heifers to raise on my own. And then I also got into goats, so now I have some market goats, and then I also do market lambs with that too.
So you're kind of in the animal world.
Yes.
More than and how about you, Makayla? What's happened since 9?
Yeah, so through 4-H, I've done dairy beef, beef cows, and then I've also done some sheep projects for the first year last time. I really enjoyed those. Then I also did some sewing and Teen Senate, which is like a teen support growing group.
Tell me about Teen Senate. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so Teen Senate is focused around leadership and teaching some more of the same age groups kids about leadership. We do projects throughout the community. Recently, I believe we just finished the reading box library.
Yes, the little free library.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
That was a job for us to paint and work together to make that a thing for people in the community.
And then is it put out like at a school or
Yes,
at a
so
location?
it is at the Ag Center in the trial gardens from the Master Gardeners.
Okay.
You can see it from Old Harrisburg Road. It's white and green and just went out on last Friday.
And then so people can just go and pick out a book?
Yes, so we have, we've been collecting books the last couple months, from youth ages like 3 to all the way to adults. We have books out there for all ages right now. It's more of the process of take a book, give a book, so that way we can keep the library replenished for all of Adams County. But Adams County supports us so much in the community, and we wanted to give back to the community through building the little free library.
That's pretty interesting. So I can tell you, looking back on my 4-H years, I was in 4-H from like 9 until high school, and lots of interesting experiences, but I really love going to the 4-H fair and the state fair every year. You know, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a week off school. So there's that, right? But it's also just a great way to meet a lot of different people, see a lot of different things. You learn something new every year. What would you guys consider to be your most memorable experiences in 4-H?
I'm gonna have to go with being able to be a camp counselor. Yeah, so 4-H supports an Ag Explorers day camp throughout the week, and then we also do overnight camp, and through that camp I've made a lot of good friends with the other counselors. Getting to meet a lot of kids and learning different things about them is just really fulfilling to me, and it was just a good time overall.
I would say mine is the county fair.
Yeah.
I enjoy going with my animals and showcasing my animals, and then also helping all the younger members. I like seeing them learn and grow at the fair because they have developed a lot more responsibility throughout that week, whether it's managing their animals or each other and their siblings. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty wild in the barn sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just think it's an overall great experience and a really good environment for everyone. It's a great place to raise kids.
So what do you think 4-H has kind of set you up for in terms of your future? What has it taught you that you think you're going to be able to use going forward?
Well, my future plans is to attend Penn State and get a degree in agricultural business management. So 4-H has definitely helped shape me towards that direction by giving me influences through all different things about agriculture. And then my own spin in it would be the business, because I really enjoy learning those kind of things. So without 4-H, I don't think I would have ever seen that as a career path, but I'm definitely thankful for it.
I would say prepared me into being able to communicate well with others. I've done the public speaking events that we have. I also feel like I've learned a lot of leadership skills through being an officer in clubs and just being able to take on leadership roles. I've definitely matured as an individual and gained a lot of really important skills that'll help me in the future.
I think that's interesting in terms of I'm kind of keying in on like what I've learned that I can like stage into my next step, right? Going to school or you know, being a camp counselor, just learning problem solving on the ground, right? Because as a counselor, that's kind of the whole job, isn't it? Like, okay, there's
Yeah.
I have to help steer and make sure everybody's safe and make
Herding
sure everything's
cats.
good. Herding cats, yeah, very much. So are you guys going to be at the Ag Camp this summer?
So we won't have counselors at Ag Explorers Camp this year, but
Okay.
they will be at overnight camp.
Okay.
Casey will be, Makayla will be leaving for college early.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go to school?
Penn State.
Okay. Oh, you told me that.
Oh,
I'm so
it's okay.
sorry. I forgot. Yeah, you told me that. All right. So if you're, what would you say to someone who is thinking about maybe that they would like to join 4-H? What would you tell them?
I would say you just need to get into it, both feet on the ground. I don't think people always realize that there's something for everyone in 4-H, because even though it is very heavy in ag, I think that's all people see it for. But I just think more people need to realize that it is truly for everyone from any background. And I think everyone can learn something through 4-H, so I'd definitely join.
And I seem to remember from back when I was in 4-H, which has been, you know, that was back in the dark ages, but when I was in 4-H, you could pick your projects, right? You could pick independent projects. So it didn't necessarily have to be that I'm only going to be in ag, or I'm only going to do sewing, or I'm only going to do like environmental or whatever. It could be an individual project, and then that community club could help you with that in terms of the 4-H leaders, right?
Correct, yeah. So they kind of, at the beginning of the 4-H year, the club leaders have their first meeting of the year and meet with the members and the families to, especially the community clubs, they kind of decide and they pick 3 projects that the kids want to be involved in. So for instance, New Oxford has done cake decorating. That's the one that they do every year. There's always kids interested in that. Barlow 4-H Club has picked wildlife and sewing. And then the Fairfield Community Club is focusing on crocheting, soap making, and then wildlife as well.
So all different things.
Yes.
And if you are in Fairfield, but you might want to do something that Barlow's doing, can you go to Barlow?
Absolutely, there's no limit. Even if you live in Maryland or and you want to attend a Pennsylvania 4-H program, you're absolutely welcome to. You don't have to live in Adams County. We have some kids that are right on the line with York County, but our club meetings are closer to them than it would be for them to travel to the York County meetings. So you don't have to be, your address doesn't matter. You can be in a part of somewhere upstate if you really wanted to make that drive. But
Perfect. Something that we haven't talked about a whole lot is that I seem to remember that a lot of families are just heavily involved in 4-H, not just the children in the families, but also the parents. Like, can we talk a little bit about that and how that works?
Absolutely. So 4-H, even though I am the 4-H educator for Adams County, I depend heavily on my volunteers and my teen leaders like Casey and Makayla. We couldn't have our 4-H program without them. We currently have 75 adult leaders, screen volunteers in our Adams County 4-H program, and those volunteers take on various tasks, including leading all of the clubs. So I have at least 2 screen volunteers for each of our 19 clubs. And they kind of take charge and oversee the programs, and I'm there as a backup resource for them. We also do 4-H Day at the fair, and I depend on our teen leaders for that a lot. They lead the workshops there. When we want to do pop-up day camps or Ag Explorers or week-long camps like that, we also need volunteers for that as well. When we do our fundraisers for apple harvest and our benefit auction, our families really step in and help and support the program, whether they're a screen volunteer or not. So we depend heavily on our adults.
So I didn't know that about apple harvest, and then you do an auction too?
Yes, so we do the 4-H chicken barbecue booth at Apple Harvest both weekends. That's our big fundraiser. So to join 4-H, Pennsylvania 4-H, there's a $20 program fee that you would get charged every year, but because we have generous supporters throughout the year in Adams County, and along with doing our 4-H chicken barbecue fundraiser and our 4-H benefit auction, we've been able to cover the $25 program fee for all 4-H members that have joined the last 4 years. We've been able to do that, and we have over 270 members. So it's a big support. It's one less financial burden for our 4-H families, especially for the families that have 5 or 6 kids in the program.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It definitely helps them, and they don't have, it's free for them.
And the same with, there's an auction, did I hear that right?
Yeah, so there's a 4-H benefit auction that happens the first Friday in November. We have a lot of items donated to us, big businesses that will donate to us, local businesses, just local families that have items that have been sitting for a while that they feel that there's financial value to. They'll donate those items, and then Reading's auction has welcomed us for free. They let us have our auction there. They help out as much as they can, and we have our auction there, and that helps.
That sounds like a lot of fun too.
It is a lot of fun.
Because you never know what's going to be auctioned, right?
Yes.
So it's like going to be a great day to like get some great deals, but also like exciting fun. Right?
Yes. Yeah, we've had some interesting things come to auction that we think will probably end up just not going anywhere, and then it ends up being one of the higher bidding items. So
You just never know.
Yeah, you never know every year.
So auctions are entertaining as well as
Oh,
a
yeah.
moneymaker, so that's all
Absolutely.
great. I know we've kind of rushed through some of the questions. Is there anything that you guys want to tell us about 4-H that I may have missed, didn't know to ask the right question about?
I mean, other than just really encouraging kids to get involved, because you make some of your best friends there. Like I said, that's where I met Casey, and we've been going strong for like 10 years now, solid. But I just think overall that it's great to get your kids in with other kids, exploring different personalities and different backgrounds. Really makes you a better, well-rounded person.
One of the things that we see at the Advocacy Center is the concept of resilience is one of the ways that you can build resilience, build skill sets and stuff like that, is to be involved in different things and to meet different people. So when you talk about I've gotten to meet different people that I might not have met at school or whatever, a lot of kids are involved in activities at school, but that's not necessarily, like for instance, sports may not be for you in the way that it might be for other people. or you know, some other extracurricular activity might not be your thing. So this gives you an opportunity to be involved with a group of other like-minded kids, but also to pick your own projects, right? And kind of take that in the direction that you want it to go. So I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, well, this has been a great discussion. I want to thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us today. I'd like to say for our viewers, if you would like more information about 4-H programs in Adams County, you can visit their website at www.adamscounty4H.org. And for more information about child abuse prevention, trauma therapy, and our support groups for kids and adults, please visit the Adams County Children's Advocacy Center website at www.kidsagaincac.org. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next week on Open House.